These are the 11 tourist mistakes to avoid in Interlaken. Now in this video I'll reveal them and more, because this is Switzerland Insider. My name is Greg, I'm Swiss, and my goal is to help you experience Switzerland like a local. Now let's get started. Now mistake number 1 is confusing the train stations in Interlaken. Interlaken has two main train stations, Interlaken Ost, which means east, and Interlaken West. So, what's the difference? Interlaken Ost is closer to Lake Brienz and is where most mountain excursions leave from. This is the station you'll use if you're heading to Lauterbrunnen or Grindelwald on the Berner Oberlandbahn. If you're coming from Lucerne, you'll arrive at Ost as well. Now Interlaken West is closer to Lake Thun and is a bit more lively. This is where you'll find more restaurants, bars and hotels. If you're staying for just a day or want the quick connections to the mountains, you're better off staying near Interlaken Ost. That's also where you'll find the Harderkulm funicular, which is a great little excursion I recommend. Now there are buses and trains that run between the two stations, so it's easy to get back and forth. You can even walk. It's only about a 20-minute walk between West and Ost. But it's good to know what's at each station so you don't book your hotel or activities in the wrong area. The second mistake is choosing the quicker route through Bern instead of traveling through Lucerne, especially if you're coming from Zurich or Zurich Airport in that case. Now to make it clear, the route through Bern is scenic, but only for a small stretch along Lake Thun. Now if you want a more scenic journey for the majority of the ride, then you should go through Lucerne and even stay there for some nights. When you travel through Lucerne, you'll hop on the Lucerne Interlaken Express, which takes you through stunning places like Lungern and Brienz, with incredible views of lakes and mountains. It's longer, yes, about 3 hours total compared to the 2 hours through Bern, but it's well worth it. Now the insider tip is on the Lucerne Interlaken Express, sit on the right hand side of the train for the best views. If you're coming from Geneva, the situation is a bit different. The quickest route is still through Bern, but the more scenic option is traveling via Montreux and then taking the Golden Pass Express directly to Interlaken. Now I know I've said that the route through Bern isn't as scenic, but I need to mention that Bern itself is one of the most beautiful cities in Switzerland. It's truly a must-visit destination for me, and I'll be covering it in a future video as well. If that sounds interesting, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it. The third mistake is only looking for accommodation in Interlaken itself. Now, a lot of people hear about Interlaken and assume it's the best place to stay. And yes, it can be a great base. It has the most infrastructure, facilities and easy access to trains and buses. But there's the thing, if you stay in one of the nearby mountain villages like Lauterbrunnen, Grindelwald, Wengen or Mürren or even Gimmelwald, you'll have a completely different experience. These villages are right in the middle of the mountains, surrounded by stunning scenery, and they're still very easy to access. Usually just 30 minutes to an hour from Interlaken by train, and then eventually cable car or other mountain train again. Interlaken is great if you want convenience, but it's not necessarily the most beautiful and immersive option. The real charm lies in the surrounding villages. Now if you do want to stay close to Interlaken, don't just limit yourself to the town itself. Interlaken has sort of suburbs like Unterseen, Matten, Rinkenberg and Wilderswil. These are smaller villages on the outskirts of Interlaken, but they blend into the town so seamlessly that sometimes you won't even notice where one stops and the other one begins. Staying in these areas can sometimes be cheaper, and you'll often find more traditional chalet-style accommodations, which feel a bit more authentic. The next mistake is not planning enough days in Interlaken. A lot of people who visit Switzerland are in a rush. They spend sort of one day in Lucerne and then one day in Interlaken, and then they move on to the next place. But honestly, there is so much to see in this region that one day just isn't enough. I would recommend staying at least 3 days in the area to fully experience its beauty. There are 2 lakes, Lake Thun and Lake Brienz, with boat cruises and walks along their shores. Then you have the mountain villages, like Lauterbrunnen, Grindelwald, Wengen and Mürren. Okay, I cannot repeat them enough, each one offering unique activities and views. And of course, there are the big attractions like the Jungfrau Region, the top of Europe, or the Schildhorn as well, with the new cable car that's coming up. If you can stay even longer, you'll have time to explore some of the hidden gems that most of the visitors miss. For example, near Grindelwald, there is a place called Pfingsteck where you can hike, enjoy amazing view of glaciers, or even take a fun ride on a mountain coaster. Or if you're up for a short trip outside the Interlaken region, consider visiting Öschinensee, a stunning alpine lake near Kandersteg. It's not far, and it's one of the most beautiful places in Switzerland, at least to my experience. Then the next mistake is spending too much time in Interlaken itself. Now don't get me wrong, Interlaken is a fantastic place. It's vibrant, lively, and definitely worth a visit. But here's the thing, a lot of people think that Interlaken itself is the destination and they end up spending most of their time there, when the real magic actually lies in the surrounding area. Sure, Interlaken is a great hub with lots of restaurants, shops, and even fun spots to walk around. If you want to explore the town itself, I've put together a self-guided walking tour in my travel guide for the Jungfrau region. It's a great way to quickly see the highlights, but there's what I really recommend. Use Interlaken as your base and get out into the region. Honestly, my Jungfrau region travel guide packs in everything I know about the area. You'll find itineraries for 1, 3, and 7 days, insider tips, practical advice, links to help you book the activities, and my personal recommendations for the best hotels and restaurants, and which train pass is the best for the entire region. It's basically your one-stop resource for planning the perfect trip. If you're overwhelmed with planning or just want to make sure you don't miss anything, this guide will save you a ton of time and effort. You'll find the link in the description. The next mistake is not having the right travel pass. Choosing the wrong pass can either cost you a lot of money or limit what you can actually do during your trip. So, let me walk you through the main options and help you avoid this mistake. First, there is a Swiss travel pass, which is ideal if you're planning traveling all over Switzerland. It covers trains, buses, and even boats across the country, and it's great for long distance travel. But here's the catch. When it comes to mountain excursions like Jungfrau Joch or Schilthorn, the discounts are not as good. Then we have the Berner Oberland Pass, which is perfect for exploring the broader region around the Jungfrau region. It's not valid for the entire country like the Swiss travel pass, plus it includes some mountain discounts, though not as much as it used to. Finally, there is the Jungfrau travel pass, which is focused entirely on the Jungfrau region. This one offers the best deals for mountain railways and cable cars. So if your main goal is to explore places like the Jungfrau Joch, Grindelwald First, Schienige Platte, this is the pass to get. But it's not as useful for traveling beyond the immediate area, as the tickets from and to the airport you'll have to get in this case anyways. Price-wise, they're all pretty similar, so the key is to choose based on your plans. Now, in the Jungfrau travel guide, I've listed exactly how much discount you get with each pass for each activity and attraction. But seriously, take a bit of time to plan out your itinerary and match it with the right pass. Doing this will make your trip so much smoother and will probably save you a good chunk of money too. The next mistake is skipping the lakes. Now, Interlaken literally means between the lakes. And yet so many people come here and don't take the time to explore Lake Brienz and Lake Thun. Trust me, you do not want to miss these. Let's start with Lake Brienz. It's known for its stunning turquoise color, and there's so many amazing places to visit along its shore. One of my favorite ones is Iseltwald, a charming village right on the lake, fishing village. You might recognize it from the famous scene in the Netflix series Crash Landing on You. Then there is Brienz, a beautiful lakeside village that also serves as a starting point for the Brienz-Rothorn Railway, which is a unique steam train ride up a breathtaking mountain with incredible views. And don't forget the Giersbach Falls with waterfalls, that one you can actually walk behind. Now over on Lake Thun, you've got spots like Spiez, which is another postcard perfect village. It's got a stunning castle right on the lake. The atmosphere here is so peaceful and it's a great spot to just relax and enjoy the views. Both lakes are also fantastic for swimming during the summer month. On a hot summer day, jumping into these cool waters is one of the best ways to cool off. The next mistake is skipping the nearby attractions. Now I know I've been saying to get out of Interlaken and explore the surrounding area, but there's the thing. There are some hidden gems that are still really close to Interlaken and are absolutely worth your time. Let me share a few of them. First, there is the Beatus Caves. These are located right by Lake Thun and they're just incredible. You walk through these underground caves with stunning rock formations and waterfalls. Such a unique experience and is still pretty underrated. Next, we've got Schienige Platte, which is one of the lesser known mountaintops in the area. Honestly, I don't understand why more people visit it because it's absolutely beautiful. There is a cogwheel train ride that takes you up, and once you're up there, the views are absolutely spectacular. It's also a starting point for one of the best hikes in the region, the Schienige Platte Panorama Trail, which is a spectacular ridge hike. And speaking of ridge hikes, There's another one that's even better, the ridge hike from Harderkulm to Augstmatthorn. This is truly one of the best hikes in the region and not many people know about it. Along the way, you'll have the chance to see ibexes in the wild, which is such an unforgettable experience. Now to hike out and back, it's going to be probably between 6 and 8 hours. It's going to fill a whole day. You have to be sure-footed and with good fitness, but if you can do it, it's definitely worth it. The next mistake is not booking popular activities in advance. Now this one might sound obvious, but trust me, it's something a lot of people overlook, especially in the summer when the region is packed with visitors. Let's take Grindelwald first, for example. This is such a popular spot for the action-packed activities like the first glider, the first flyer, or even the mountain carts. These attractions are incredibly fun, but they also get really crowded during the peak season. If you just show up expecting to hop on one of these rides, you might actually be disappointed. So if these activities are on your must-to-do list, book them early to make sure you do not miss out. Another big one is paragliding, which is one of the most iconic activities in the Jungfrau or especially Interlaken region. You can fly, between the lakes, seeing all the mountains, but because it's so popular, the spots can also fill up fast, especially on a good day and during the summer. And of course, there is Jungfrau Joch as well, the top of Europe. If you're planning to go up during the summer months, it's highly recommended to reserve your seat for the last part of the journey. This is a stretch from Kleine Scheidegg or Eigergletscher, depending, up to Jungfrau Joch. Without a reservation, you could be stuck waiting for a long time to find an open spot, and that's not how you want to spend your day. The next mistake is thinking that everything in Interlaken and the surrounding region is open all year round. Now, this is a common one, especially for people visiting outside of the main seasons, and it can really mess up your plans if you do not know what to expect. Here's the reality. Many attractions in this region close down during the off-season, typically in late October or November, and some only reopen in the spring or summer. For example, Platte, which is absolutely worth visiting, usually only opens in June and stays open until late October. Similarly, Harderkulm, another popular viewpoint, closes in winter as well. And there's the Trümmelbach Fall, this incredible indoor in the rock waterfalls. They shut down completely for the winter months. Now, even in popular places like Grindelwald First or Männlichen, they have periods of revision where the cable cars stop running, usually for about a month in November. During these times, you might find that only certain group tours can go up, or in some cases, nothing is running at all. I've seen people walk up to the ticket counter all excited to go up, only to turn away because it's closed for maintenance. It's not how you want to spend your vacation. But good news, Jungfrau Joch, if you want to visit that is open all year round. And it's not just the mountains. Boat tours on Lake Brienz don't run year round either, while the ones at Lake Thun operate year round on a limited schedule. On Lake Brienz, which in my eyes is a more beautiful lake, but there's usually a break at the start of the year when they stop for a while, so in the winter months. If you're coming outside the main season, which is roughly from April to October, it's important to check what's open and what's not. The last mistake is expecting a lot of snow in Interlaken during winter. A lot of people come to the region during winter expecting a magical winter wonderland everywhere, but it's not always the case. Now, Interlaken is located between Lake Brienz and Lake Thun, and because these lakes do not really fully cool down in winter, they create sort of a little microclimate. This keeps the temperature in Interlaken a little tiny bit higher than in the surrounding areas, meaning snow in Interlaken itself is pretty rare. Now, if you're set on seeing snow, you need to head up to higher altitude villages. Places like Wengen and Mürren and Gimmelwald have a very high likelihood of snow, but even there it's not 100% guaranteed. Now, if you're really looking for snow, you'll want to go even higher to places like Kleine Scheidegg, where you'll find snow for sure during the ski season. In fact, you can ski at Kleine Scheidegg until the end of April. And of course, Jungfrau Joch, the top of Europe, has snow year-round. I'd really appreciate it if you leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and even consider checking out my travel guide linked in the description. It means a lot to me and helps to support the channel. Also, if you see me around in Switzerland, don't be shy, come say hello. I always love meeting you guys in person. So, thank you very much. I'll see you soon around in Switzerland. Bis bald und tschüss.